Am I the jerk for calling out my brother for blocking me on social media? My brothers Tom and Jerry and I have always been super close. We're talking about a solid trio here, growing up thick as thieves. But let's rewind about 5 years ago when things started to get a bit rocky. Tom, the eldest at 34, hit a rough patch. He lost his job, and not going to lie, it hit him hard. He was down in the dumps both emotionally and financially, and things just weren't looking up for him. At the time, I was in a pretty good place with my job, making more than enough to get by. So I figured, why not help out my brother, right? So I did what any decent sibling would do. I supported him financially and tried to be there for him as much as I could. Now, it's not like Tom didn't have chances to get back on his feet. He had job offers, sure, but they weren't in his field, and he wasn't feeling them. Our folks were giving him a hard time over being picky, but Jerry and I were fully on board with him holding out for something that felt right. We were basically saying, hey, no sweat, follow what you're passionate about, and don't worry about the rest. We've got your back. Fast forward to 2 years back, and the tables have turned. Tom's landed this killer job, and suddenly he's raking in the dough. It's great and all, but with this new job, he starts drifting away from Jerry and me. Then he meets this girl. They hit it off, get married, and boom, a baby makes 3. With all these changes, Tom starts to change too. He's not the brother we knew. He gets a bit uppity, kind of starts looking down on us. Now here's where the irony kicks in. I end up getting the boot from my job, and before I know it, my savings are looking pretty sad. Remembering how I was there for Tom, I figured it wouldn't hurt to ask for a bit of help, right? But when I reach out, he's all, sorry, can't help, not in a good place right now. Meanwhile, I'm scrolling through his social media, seeing pictures and posts about how awesome his life is. And I'm just sitting here thinking, really, dude? So yeah, when it comes to feeling a bit salty about him blocking me on social media and all that, I think there's a bit more to it than just being petty. It's about how things have changed, and not exactly for the better between us. So, word on the street, or more accurately, word from his wife, is that Tom's not too thrilled about having to support his lazy family. That stung, not going to lie. So I decided to confront him about it, right? And what does he do? He basically accuses me of creeping on his online life and just like that, blocks me, our parents, and Jerry from all his social media. Honestly, our folks weren't too bothered since they're not big on social media anyway. Jerry was a bit miffed, but he's laid back about most things. Me? Yeah, I was hurt, but I tried to brush it off like it was no big deal. Despite all this drama, we still managed to keep in touch over the phone every now and then. Here's where it gets interesting. About a year ago, when I was bouncing between part-time gigs, I started working on this children's book. You see, writing a book has been my dream forever, like since I was a kid, and my family's always known about it. The last real talk I had with Tom, which feels like ages ago, I opened up to him about feeling like maybe I should just let that dream go. That was pretty much the last time we talked about anything serious. Meanwhile, I've been hustling on this book, posting updates and sneak peeks on social media. My extended family was getting all hyped up about it, which was super encouraging. Then boom, a week ago, I get this amazing news from a publisher. They want to publish my book. Sure, it's not like I'm going to be rolling in dough from the deal, but it's a big step for me. So I decided to share the good news on a video call with my family, including all the aunts, uncles, and cousins. And let me tell you, everyone was over the moon about it. So there I was, sharing this super cool news about my children's book getting published. A dream come true, right? Everyone's jazzed up about it, cheering and all that. When out of the blue, Tom's looking all shocked and confused. He's like, hold up, why am I only hearing about this now? He starts throwing around excuses, saying stuff like, you say I never call, but you don't share anything about your life with me either. Basically, he's trying to flip the script and make it seem like it's on us for not being tight like before. I'm not going to lie. That really got under my skin because that was totally not the moment to make me feel guilty about anything. The rest of the fam there, they're giving Tom these side eyes, kind of weirded out, and they're quick to point out, yo, she's been all over social media talking about her book journey. Where have you been? And that's when I just let it slip, kind of half joking but totally serious. Oh, it might be tough for Tom to know since he's got me blocked, thinking I'm all about keeping tabs on his riches or something silly like that. Tom, of course, isn't thrilled to have that put out there, but the convo sort of fizzles out, and we wrap up the call pretending everything's peachy. Now, my mom's not too happy with me for airing our dirty laundry in front of everyone. She's all about keeping up appearances, wanting to make sure our family looks like the picture of perfection, especially in front of the extended relatives. My dad, though, he's on my side, but thinks maybe I should have played it cool and talked to Tom about it later. Jerry, my other brother, he's just loving the drama, thinks it's hilarious. And me? I'm sitting there feeling like I maybe goofed up, turning what should have been a highlight reel moment into this awkward family drama. It's like I gave my good news moment away, and now there's even more tension between me and Tom. But at the same time, I'm really over Tom playing the victim card all the time. It's like, come on, man, own up to your part in this mess. Update. After the whole blowout with Tom blocking everyone and the awkward family call, things took a turn for the soap opera-esque, if you can believe it. So there I was, riding the high from the news of my book deal, trying to shake off the messy family call. Jerry, bless his soul, decided we needed a family summit. Yeah, like we're the UN or something. He reckons it's high time we hash out all this drama face-to-face, or at least Zoom to Zoom, given Tom's love for social media walls over actual communication. The day of the summit rolls around, and it's like the opening scene of a reality TV show reunion. Everyone's tense, trying to look calm, but you can cut the air with a knife. Tom calls in, looking like he's about to be put on trial, which, let's be honest, he sort of is. Mom's there, trying to play peacemaker but ready to throw down if anyone bashes the family name. Dad's just hoping to watch the football game in peace after all this. Jerry kicks off the meeting with a speech about family and support, sounding like a cross between a motivational speaker and a peace negotiator. It's touching, really, but then it's my turn to speak. I lay it all out, how hurt I was when Tom turned his back on me, how his actions contradicted everything we grew up believing in about family sticking together. Tom, looking like he's been sucker-punched by a ghost, tries to defend himself. He goes on about the pressures of being a new dad, the stress of his job, and how he felt we were judging his life choices. Honestly, it was the most we'd heard him talk about his feelings in years. As the summit continues, revelations start dropping like bombs. Turns out Tom's wife, let's call her Sheila, was the mastermind behind the social media blockade. She felt threatened by our closeness and convinced Tom we were all after his money. Tom, caught in the middle of his loyalty to his wife and his family, chose the path of least resistance. Isolation. The real kicker? Sheila, watching from the sidelines, decides to join the call, unleashing a tirade about keeping family drama offline and accusing me of airing dirty laundry for sympathy. Jerry, ever the hothead, jumps to my defense, and for a moment I thought World War III was about to break out via Zoom. But then something miraculous happens. Amidst the shouting and the accusations, Tom's baby starts crying in the background. It's like a wake-up call for all of us. Suddenly, the pettiness of our squabbles seems so trivial compared to the love we have for this new life among us. The summit ends not with resolutions, but with an uneasy truce. We agree to try and rebuild, starting with unblocking each other and actually communicating like in the old days. Tom even suggests a family therapy session, which, coming from him, is as shocking as if the Pope decided to run for president. As for me, the whole saga made me realize how much I've let this family drama distract me from my dreams. My book is my priority, and while I want my family to be part of my journey, I can't let their chaos derail me. I'm focusing on promoting my book, attending virtual readings, and even starting a sequel. The drama with Tom has shown me that sometimes you have to build your own path, even if it means putting up boundaries with those you love. Now for the next story. Am I the jerk for telling my brother not to ask for honesty when he never wants to hear it? I'm this 27-year-old woman, and I've got a brother who's 30. Sadly, he lost his wife about 6 years back, and they had 2 kids together, a 12-year-old girl and a 10-year-old boy. Now, for the past 3 or 4 years or so, my brother's been trying to jump back into the whole dating scene. He's had a few girlfriends here and there, and even got to the point where he introduced them to his kids. His latest ex seemed pretty serious. He was even throwing around the idea of getting married to her. But for some reason, none of these relationships seemed to stick, and he's been pretty stumped about why. He's gone around asking various family members for their take on the whole situation, but whenever someone tries to give him a bit of truth, He pretty much shuts down. Like, he'll either talk over them or completely ignore what they're trying to say. Here's the real deal, though. His kids aren't exactly thrilled about him dating again. They've opened up to us a few times, expressing how they're scared of their mom being replaced, which is totally understandable. Because of this fear, they've been, let's just say, less than welcoming to any new girlfriends my brother brings around, pretty much doing their best to scare them off. And my brother, it seems like he's totally oblivious to it. At first, I thought maybe he was just choosing to ignore what was going on, but now I'm starting to think he genuinely doesn't see it. It's like he's created this whole other narrative in his head about why things aren't working out, leading him to shut down whenever the topic comes up. It might be some deep-seated denial, but I'm really not sure at this point. So after yet another one of his relationships hit the skids, he comes to me all frustrated, wondering what's been going wrong. He's like, "Why does this keep happening? Nobody tells me anything." And that's where I had to jump in and hit pause on the whole convo. I was straight up with him and said, "Look, you've been asking the same question to pretty much everyone in the family, but the moment anyone tries to give you some real talk, you just shut them out. You don't really listen." I basically told him that if he's genuinely looking for answers, he's got to be ready to handle the truth. And if he can't deal with that, then he really needs to stop asking the question in the first place. Now he's ticked off at me, saying I was being rude. He thinks I should have just given him an answer when he asked. But here's the thing. I didn't want to end up like everyone else, offering up some honest insights only to get brushed off. The rest of my family, though, they're actually relieved I said something. They've been feeling the same way but didn't really know how to bring it up. So they're on my side, thinking I did the right thing by speaking up. But here's where I start second-guessing myself. My brother is seriously mad about the whole thing, and it's got me wondering if maybe I should have just tried to tell him what's up, even if there was a good chance he wouldn't listen to me. To add another layer to this, I've got a friend who's also my roommate telling me that I wasn't being super helpful, which has me questioning even more whether I handled things the right way. So with all this going down, I'm kind of stuck, wondering, was I the jerk in this situation for calling him out instead of just going along with it and trying to answer his question? Update. So after that intense confrontation where I laid it all out for my brother about needing to accept honesty, things went from heated to volcanic. Let's rewind a bit. After our little clash, things got awkward. I mean, dinner conversations could have been sliced with a knife. They were so tense. My brother, let's call him Jake, was visibly upset, but also kind of reflective. It was hard to tell because with Jake, he's like a vault, hard to crack open and see what's really going on inside. Fast forward a couple of weeks, and Jake decides to have this family meeting. Yeah, you heard that right. A full-blown sit-down in the living room kind of meeting. He starts off by saying he's been doing some serious thinking, which, let's be honest, had everyone's eyebrows reaching their hairlines, because Jake and serious thinking don't usually go in the same sentence. Jake admits that he's been in denial about the kids and their feelings towards his dating life, like major denial. He actually breaks down, which is a rarity, saying he's been so caught up in his own loneliness and grief that he totally missed how his actions were affecting his kids. This moment was huge, not just for him but for all of us. It was like, for the first time, he was really seeing the situation for what it was. But wait, there's more. Jake then drops another bombshell. He's decided to go to therapy. Yes, therapy. This is the guy who always said, "I don't need to talk about my feelings, I'm fine." Now he's acknowledging he needs help to work through his grief and be a better dad. I mean, talk about a 180. Now you'd think that was enough drama, but nope. Here's where it gets even crazier. Jake's ex, the one he was really serious about, reaches out to him. She heard through the grapevine about his moment of realization and wanted to see how he was doing. They start talking, and it's like all those old feelings are still there. But this time, Jake's being upfront about his journey and what he's learning in therapy. Meanwhile, the kids are starting to open up more. They see the changes in their dad and are cautiously optimistic. It's like this whole ordeal has started to mend fences and bring the family closer together. But it's not all smooth sailing. My brother and I have had our ups and downs through this. He thanked me for my blunt honesty, but it also opened up this whole can of worms about our relationship and how we communicate. We've had some real talk, the kind that's uncomfortable but necessary. It's like we're learning how to be siblings all over again, navigating this new dynamic where we're both adults with our own complicated lives. As for me, I've been doing some reflecting too. That comment from my friend at roommate hit harder than I expected. It made me realize that while honesty is important, delivery matters too. I've been working on being more empathetic and understanding, trying to balance truth with kindness. It's a work in progress, but I'm getting there. Now for the next story. Am I the jerk for starting a family argument over a revealing dress? So here's the deal. I'm this 19-year-old chick who's never really given two hoots about fashion. You could say I'm more comfortable in a pair of sneakers than in heels, and my wardrobe is pretty much a tribute to all things casual and comfy. Like, if it's not a hoodie or some baggy t-shirt, I probably don't own it. My friend Ashley and I were just chatting one day about how I've literally never slipped into a dress since I hit the single digits age-wise, and I was kind of on a mission to find something nice to wear. Not because I suddenly fell in love with the idea of dressing up, but because it's nice to switch things up once in a while, you know? So after what felt like an eternity scrolling through online stores, I found this dress. It was pretty chill, a satin slip dress with a slit that wasn't too crazy, but added a bit of spice. It's the kind of dress you see all the time at parties or on Instagram. Nothing too out there. I was actually feeling pretty good about it, and decided to get my mom's take on which color would suit me best, because she's all about that fashion life. Well, that's where things went south real quick. She sees the dress and instantly labels it, and I'm standing there like, "Excuse me?" Then she goes and blabs to my dad, turning it into this whole big thing. My dad, trying to be diplomatic but not really helping, says just thinking about the dress makes him uneasy. He tried to soften the blow by saying he wouldn't have called it, but didn't mind that my mom did. He also threw in this line about how it's not you to wear such clothes, as if I'm supposed to stay in my fashion lane forever or something. This whole thing got heated. I mean, here I am trying to step out of my comfort zone, maybe try on a different hat for a change, and I get slammed for it. I've always felt kind of weird about doing anything too girly, because of all these stereotypes floating around in my family about what it means to care about your looks. Despite all that, I even agreed to modify the dress a bit to make my mom happy. She said she was just giving her opinion, but it felt more like a guilt trip for wanting to wear something different. And yeah, I get it. I'm living under their roof, but it was my cash that paid for the dress. So this whole situation has me wondering, am I really the bad guy for causing a stir over a piece of fabric? It's got me all twisted up, feeling like maybe I should have just kept quiet and not tried anything new. But then again, why should I have to keep my fashion sense in a box just to avoid a family feud? Now for the last story. Am I the jerk for making myself nice meals and not my husband? So me and my husband are like night and day when it comes to what we like, especially with food. I was all about the healthy life before we got together. I hardly ever ate out, stuck to water and sweet tea, and my meals were mostly plants. Super healthy vibes, you know? But then my husband comes along, and suddenly I'm eating out way more than I ever did, because that's his jam, and I guess I'm kind of easy to sway. It didn't take long to figure out his diet is pretty much the opposite of healthy. He's all about meat, cheese, and carbs, like rice, bread, pasta, and potatoes. Vegetables? Nope, unless you count corn. And forget about dairy other than butter, fruits, or anything that's not in his meat-cheese-carb triangle. He's not even into most seasonings, which is wild to me. So I started to tweak my cooking to match what he likes, even ditching my healthy sides because it bugged him. I tried to keep some healthiness in my lunches or when we ate out, but it wasn't enough. Then we had our daughter, and as she's starting to eat with us, I've hit my limit with our junk food lifestyle. I don't feel good about myself. I've put on weight, feel sluggish, and just overall blah. And there's no way I want our daughter growing up thinking this is the only way to eat. I've decided no more fast food for the family. If he wants it, he can get it for himself. I've gone back to cooking real wholesome meals, which, surprise, he's not thrilled about. I've tried talking to him, asking him to at least try to find something healthy that he can stand, but it's been tough. So here's the thing. The meals I whip up aren't even what you'd call health food by the book, but they're a hit. Like, our friends and family can't get enough of them, even when I sneak in stuff they swear they never eat. Making tasty yet healthier meals isn't rocket science, but my husband just won't have any of it. I finally laid down the law and told him if he's not into what I'm cooking, he's welcome to make his own grub. At first he seemed okay with that, but over time he started to get really grumpy about the whole arrangement. He keeps saying it's unfair that he has to eat junk while we're enjoying these awesome healthy dishes. I tried to explain that what he's making for himself is pretty much what I used to cook for him, minus a few of the extra special touches I throw in now and then. I even offered to cook those fancier meals for him once in a while, just not all the time. But nope, he says it's not the same and that he feels left out because he's not getting to enjoy the good stuff like we are. I told him straight up, if he wants in on the healthier meals, he's got to be okay with me adding in some veggies and spices. There's only so much you can do with meat and carbs to keep it healthy and interesting. Now he's all mopey, saying it's unfair he's the only one missing out on the delicious meals, and that I should make more of an effort to include him. Honestly, I think it's pretty wild that he expects to eat the same way we do without actually eating any of the stuff that makes our meals healthy. So, am I really the bad guy here for not wanting to bend over backward to accommodate his super limited tastes?